Hi, I'm Corey. Welcome to Creating with Scraps. This was going to be the last of the Scrapbuster idea book videos, and I went off on a complete tangent, and I'm blaming it all on Tracy Fox. But this is going to be the last video that shows how to make the pages and putting the pages in. I'll do a super short video tomorrow showing the index lists and a quick flip through of each of the journals that coordinate with the index lists, and I'll answer a couple of questions. But tonight I just wanted to get that all the pages will be done and they are completed. And why, you say, is this Tracy Fox's fault? Well, because this morning I was finishing up the last of the pages, and I got a message that one of Tracy Fox from Love Junk's Journals videos was available. And so I thought, well, I'll just listen to it while I create. And she started talking about the tag that she was making. It's absolutely beautiful. And she was saying that she was inspired by the recent Tim Holtz Sissics Chapter 3 release. Well, I have avoided those all year simply because I think he's done 3. I avoided them because I am addicted to dies. Dies and die cuts are my favorite thing. They have been for 25 years. I did some work for AccuCut. I love the Quick Cuts dies. I used a lot of their product. I like dies. So I'd avoided it, and I thought, well, gosh, I'll just listen while I make. Huge mistake. Today I was supposed to finish this up right quick and clean my garage and do a couple other things. None of it happened. I sat and listened to that video. I listened to it first, and I kept stopping and pausing because I was just blown away by the creativity. And then I actually sat through and watched the whole thing. And there are 2 more. So at some point when I'm just feeling that I can do it, I'll watch through all those videos. But that is the reason why it's almost 9 o'clock at night and I have just finished these, because that third Chapter 3 video really inspired me to kick up my game for the last couple pages and be more intentional about doing something really creative and fun. So this will be pages 32 through 36. And I will show you what they originally looked like in here. So we finished this one last night. So this is 32, and the concept here was a belly band with a pocket, with a bookmark, with a cluster, and it was all on top of a pocket that I had intended to put some fun things in, but this book was so chunky that I'd stopped. But it's the double layer envelope. So you punch or you cut 2 of the envelopes at once and you sew one on top of the other. All right, so that's page 32. Page 33 was the stacked pocket, and stacked pocket 3 ways. This is one of the ways. And so 3 different pockets using different pages from old books. And in these pockets are just a journaling card. Oh, I'll show you this one next. Well, a little notebook, and then just a flip over card with just a little bit of scrap of lace and card to make it interesting, with a button spot on the bottom. And the button spot was changed just a little bit by adding one of those Tracy flower cards. So that's 32, 33. 34 was just a pretty simple page with a cut down piece of file folder made into a library type pocket. And then this was one of the first Scrapbuster videos I did before I did the series, and I think it's called Paperclip Pocket, maybe. So if you're wanting to go back and see how that was made, and basically what it is, it's a paper clip that you put over the edge of the page, and it's just got a little bit of a note card or a journaling spot in it. And then it's attached to a paper clip. It's a very simple, straightforward process, and I think that's the video that shows how to do it. All right, then this was inspired by Gail. She was talking and doing something, and I was grading papers, and I was not watching, I was just listening, and what she was saying made me think about it and inspired me to do this. And it's got a long tuck spot, or a long journaling card, and 2 short tags. And I think this was episode 18 of the Scrapbusters, and episode 30 of flips, flaps, and folds. So I kind of combined the two. And then this was just a die cut on top of a piece of tracing paper with some of that transparency on the front to show a different way to make a journaling card. And then the last page was a stamp card used just a little bit different way with a side tuck paper clip and 2 of those frames, basically with some of my favorite quotes. So that was the original book that I did. And I started off making these, and then, well, like I said, Tim Holtz and Tracy caused me to squirrel a little bit. And now I'll show you this piece. So for this pocket, this is just a little fold over piece of offcut of card with a bit of vellum on the side to make some tuck spots. And these are Tracy Ladies, I think is what they're called. And then just a little itty bitty notepad on the side, right? Well, this page didn't overly thrill me because there was nothing really new on it except for the envelope. So I wanted to make sure and save the envelope. But the pocket was kind of wasted because I wasn't using it. And we've already got several belly bands with pockets and we've got bookmarks. So I thought, and this inspired what I actually did end up making. And I will walk you through those. All right. Oh, before I forget, one of the questions that I've had, and I'm going to address it now simply because these books are essentially done, why I changed the spine. And here is, I'm going to put them together. This is the reason I changed the spine. I had to come in and sew some of these accordion style pieces in so that it didn't do this, what you can see right here, and pop out, because that's just the nature of accordion. And these, the signature sewn in this way, allow me to make the book. And yes, this is chunky because I do chunky. Even with that 2.5-inch spine, it's still a gator mouth, but it does close flat. Both of them do. So I really like this hinged spine system. Now, I know it's certainly not for everybody, but since I tend to make chunky books and I like making chunky books, I'll probably use this one again. And another reason I use the spine is I envision these as idea books, right? The idea is you flip through them whenever you're stuck or whenever you want to do something a little bit different in your journals or what have you. But that was my reasoning for coming up with this journal in the first place. And the reason I chose this particular spine, and this is a sample that I showed when I made this spine. Let me move these to the side so I don't drop them. And so these are the Tim Holtz cardstock, right? This happens to be French industrial, but it works the same way with any of them, right? And I showed how we did this, and I didn't peel off all the little bits. But I want you to see, I mean, this is a sturdy, I can tug on this and pull on this. Could I tear it? Probably, but I'm tugging hard. I mean, I'm pulling on this, and it's not pulling out. So you don't have to worry with this about it accidentally tearing. Could you tear it? Probably, but I would have to work to tear this. But if I needed to take it out, I could just come with a seam ripper and take the whole thing out, fix whatever I needed to fix, and sew it right back in. So again, I really like this spine system, and that's why I chose it. All right, back to the pages. And page 32. Okay, here we go. So instead of doing the belly band that I had done, it's still a belly band, it's still a pocket here, and I'll show you how to make these real quick. I mean, super quick. It's an envelope, but it's just a double layer envelope. And this one has a book page with a piece of tracing paper sewn over the top. And this is definitely a Jibbid Neri thing. And she had some really cool creative ones where she put little sparkles and sprinkly things and punches and die cuts in and such. Love these. And it was, again, because it's an idea book, it's a reminder to use that idea. And the belly band holds that little envelope. And then it's got the pocket on the front with a bookmark, and then there's journaling spot on the bookmark. And here is some more of that cotton frizz that I absolutely adore. And for those of you who are doing the Stamperia Forest with me, oh yes, you will absolutely see this cotton frizz because it just goes really well with that. And then this is a cut piece of the Tim Holtz photo booth. And I just made a little bit of a frame around it to make that one section kind of stand out a little bit. And then you open it up, and then here's a notepad, lots of place to write. And then here are some little bits of ephemera so that you can decorate your pages. There's a vocabulary card. Paula, maybe it's Italian, maybe. Is Paula Italian for ball? Maybe. And then ticket, Tim Holtz ticket, some ephemera from his little ephemera pack. I don't even know who makes this one, just a little flower card, and then a label. So you've kind of got a little bit of everything in this. You know, you can decorate your bookmark if you choose to. You can decorate your pages if you choose to. You can tear out a page, write a note, put it in your envelope and send it off. I mean, my mind was spinning with ideas on this. And I will show you how I made this. Well, I mean, I'll show you how I made some of it, because really some of it is just pretty much self-explanatory, and some we saw in the video, but I'll go through it real quick. All right, and I'll pull over this book so we can work in here. Okay, so it's going to be on this page here. And another thing, when I make chubby journals and such, a lot of times they won't lay flat. And another beauty of this system is, even though my book is ginormously thick, it lays flat. It stays open, even at the end of the day. And I mean, a lot of times I'll have to use one of these, you know, book weights, whatever, to hold my pages down by the time I get to this point. But this, I don't really even need to, because it stays pretty well. Now, does it stand up? Sure. But I can still flip through easily. So again, I'm really pleased with this system, and you'll probably see me use it frequently. All right, all pieces out. Okay. Let's start. Gosh, you know what? It's been so long. I started this early this morning, so I'm not even 100% sure what my thought was. Now I remember. All right, so I grabbed vellum for this piece. So you get a piece of book or paper or whatever. It can be a digital, and then a piece of coffee dyed tracing paper or vellum or whatever you want. And what I do to make these is I lay them one right on top of each other, and I use my envelope punch board. You can use a template, you can freehand it, you can do whatever, but I lay one right on top of each other. And then what I did is I sewed around each of those sections. So it started off like this, and I punched, so this was just a little bit bigger. You do the punch and score, punch and score, punch and score, right? Then I took the two pieces and I sew the section in the center first. I use the clips. So the section in the center first, because then it's got it anchored and I don't have to worry about things wiggling around. And then I just went over each of the 4 flaps and went around the flap. And I don't stitch perfectly, which is probably one of the reasons I like to do these types of projects, because I don't have to have perfect stitches. And I put the dogs in the backyard, but you can still hear them barking. Silly dogs. All right. And that is how you do the envelope, okay? And you can do it different sizes. I think this one's 5.5 and these are 3.5 or something along those lines. So there's the envelope. Here is the little notebook, right? It's just a piece of 6x6 paper. I think it was cut in half, so it's maybe this is 2x2. So this one's probably a 4-inch section of paper. And I put a little notepad here. Here I didn't have enough of the too long strip of coffee dyed tracing paper, so I just pieced it together. And I actually kind of really like the way it looks. Just, you know, again, this goal is to use up the scraps. So I pieced the scraps together to make it work. And again, a vocabulary card, just a little bit of the Tim Holtz ephemera, a Tracy label. I think these are Anna from Pink Monarch Prints, but I won't swear to it, but I think they are. And then that's the inside bit, right? And here is my outside bit with, again, the Tim Holtz photo booth. And I think these are the Tim Holtz, I don't even remember what they're called. They're the little stickers with words and such on it. And then I just framed it and put a tiny bit of lace. And I even used a tiny bit of, I don't know if you can see that, tiny bit of bling there rather than using a brad, because I didn't want it to tear the tracing paper and I didn't want it to catch. I just glued on a tiny bit of bling. And then it's topped with the Nouveau Crystal Deluxe. And here, again, cotton frizz, love the colors, on a journaling card. Piece of Tim Holtz cardstock, backed with coffee dyed copy paper. And that is that. So I wanted to show you how I I think that's what I put this in here for. Yeah, how I did this. And there's a couple different ways you can do the frame if you are wanting to do the frame. Very simply, and then we'll just glue it on to here and tuck this. In fact, while that's drying, I'll glue it on. And to glue on the belly band, I just glue at the top and the bottom, right? And I don't need to worry about a lot of extra room because I just put the envelope in there. Now, could I have put another journaling card? Absolutely. Another notepad? Absolutely. But, well, as you saw, it's getting pretty darn thick. So, and there are the monsters. Okay, well, hopefully you can't hear them as well as I can. I think the people behind us let their dog outside, and heaven forbid that take place. All right, so this will dry while I'm showing you what I did. And again, you can do it one of two ways. You can use, I know a lot of people say, I don't have a die cut machine, I don't have a die cut machine, but really if you can, if you're looking at things, bang for your buck, value for your money, that type of thing, a die cut machine, I mean, I know I'm prejudiced because I absolutely love them, but you can do so much with those. And I'm going to use punches for this step, but you could absolutely use nesting dies. All right, this is a very old, and I probably have had this for no joke 25 years. Family Treasures, don't even think they're in business any longer. I bought the oval, circle, and square punches a long, long time ago. And I saved them because I thought I might use them. And the way I do it for this is I punch the smaller square first, okay? So I'm gonna just grab a section, and I'm gonna punch the smaller square first. If I were using a nesting die, I would use the smaller nesting die first. And then just punch it out, and of course I will save that scrap. Then I can do one of two things. I can take my cutting mat, right, and my straight edge, where is my ruler? Here it is, and my X-Acto knife, and I can line it up, right, whatever dimension I want. I think it's 1/2 inch or quarter of an inch, and go all the way around, right, because I've got this as my guide because I've got that inside piece, so I can make my frame that way. I can use my X-Acto knife, so I only need one square punch. But I just think a square punch is a super handy thing to have. And I know there's different brands now, but either a nesting die, a square nesting die, or a square punch. Lots and lots and lots of uses. But what I did is I used the next biggest one, and I just kind of guesstimated where it was. Now, should I hold it? Should I hold it in place? Probably, because I'm trying to work with a camera here and make it line up so that it's somewhat equidistant. Okay, there we go. And that is my frame. Then I, of course, inked around the edges. And I think she looks like Aunt Tessie. You know, Ron from Harry Potter says he looks like his great Aunt Tessie when he wears the holiday robes or the whatever. So anyway, I think she looks like great Aunt Tessie. So I would ink that, and I would frame great Aunt Tessie just like so. And that's, let me bring it up so you can see. That's how I would frame great Aunt Tessie. All right, this is drying. Hopefully I'm going to leave it to dry completely because I put a lot of wet glue on that. And I'll tuck the envelope in, and we will move on to the next page. All right, next page. Same idea as earlier, but I changed it a little bit. Tim Holtz and the fabulous, incredible makes that the people did. Holy Moses, they were amazing. It encouraged me to kick up my game a notch. Now, true story, went to the backyard, and I knew there were dandelions back there. In my defense, the reason we haven't done our backyard is we knew when we moved in that we were going to go from septic to city sewer. And they had told us that when we moved in. And we had been waiting until that took place because that takes up a good chunk of the backyard to landscape our backyard. And that just got finished. In fact, it's not even 100% finished throughout the whole division, and they haven't fixed the side piece, but the backyard part's done. So now we can start landscaping. But in the interim, I just went and plucked a dandelion because I thought it really kind of, I mean, I know these aren't necessarily dandelions, but I just thought they went really well together. So some of you might be going, Corey, what were you thinking? These might turn brown or wilt or whatever. No, I don't care. I encased it in 2 pieces of plastic. And whoever purchases this journal, if they absolutely hate it, well, I put it on a brad so you could take it out and then just put a die card or something else right here to hide that itty bitty hole. But I thought that was really cool. It's kind of, oh, and that was the other thing. One of the other reasons I did this is I had this dictionary page. So dictionary and shorthand, and then a junior Latin reader. I took some different kinds of styles of writing and fonts and stuff. But the words, I mean, because I am a teacher and I do have a master's in English, I love words, I love language, and I love the word apocrypha. Now, whether or not you believe in the idea of the apocrypha and if it should be in the Bible or not, or blah, 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 it's just a really cool word. And I like words, like epiphany. It's a cool word. Apocrypha is a cool word. And I didn't want to cover that. All that to say, I didn't want to cover up that cool word, which is why I came up with this little hinged system to move the flower out of the way so that we could still see the word apocrypha. All right, so the 3 pockets, the flower, movable flower element, and then here is a little notebook, just a flip up note booklet, and I used washi tape as the hinge because it helps it lay more flat. And again, it just emulated the colors. I thought they went really well together. So there is a dandelion in this book. And then here was just that little note card, and I put this scrap down a little bit lower, so I felt like it needed a little something up there, and I lifted it up over the top rather than off to the side. So I just put that little butterfly, Carrie Fellows from Witchcraft Do You Do, one of her little butterflies, and then I put Nouveau crystal glaze on it. And then, because I had copied this tag from the other book onto this page, I decided, well, I just need a simple bookmark tag here, or just a regular tag. So again, my piece of paper wasn't long enough, so I took 2 sections of the paper, stitched it together, and put some coffee-dyed copy paper on the back. Again, the idea is to use up your scraps and make them work for you, and I thought that turned out pretty cool. And again, it's a different scale on the same exact paper, and that's another beauty of the Tim Holtz paper packs. Not that I'm trying to sell on Tim Holtz, but the same paper comes in different sizes. On the 12 by 12 sheet, it's a lot bigger, and then they shrink it down to the 6 by 6, and you've got it smaller, and then there's the 3 by 3 or the 3 by 4, and it's even smaller still. So you get the same paper, but with different scale, and so that part's really cool too. You can combine them and use them together. So that's how I did this page, and we will put it together here. All right, this should be dry by now, right? Sure, we're going to go with yes. Okay. And here we go. Here are the pieces for this page. See, I'm being really quiet, and I shouldn't be because I have my cool new microphone, and I want everybody to be able to hear me. All right. For those of you who didn't see how I made this, the way I make the pockets is very, very, very simple. I figure out what size I want, and I fold. And then let's say I want it to be this wide, and I fold, okay? I don't necessarily glue those down, right? So I've got the 2 sides, and then I'll fold. I want the word Greg shorthand to show, so I'll do it like this. And this is too long, so I will fold it up about here. All right, so I've got it all folded. And the reason I do this, and then I will glue down this top piece, and I'll glue down the bottom piece, and a lot of times I'll put in a piece of tape, okay? I get my piece of copy tape so that things can go in and out easily. Well, Corey, if you're going to tape it down, why in the world did you fold it over? And I will show you. Oops, I didn't even glue it. Normally I glue the top and the bottom, but just for the sake of speed, I'll show you there. I'm going to show you why, even though I'm going to glue these edges down now. And another thing I do is almost always I'll cut an angle on these corners so that the corners don't stick out. And then I'll glue those pieces down. All right. Why did you, if you're going to just tape it, why did you do that? because you get a completely different effect. All right, so I've got a folded over edge. I just inked this one to show you what I'm talking about. And let me grab, okay, here we go. Here is a scrap piece of book page. Now here's what it looks like with the folded over edge, and here is what it looks like with a flat edge. When I glue it down on my page, it's less dimensional, but I get a completely different look. Now I'm going to zoom in just a bit so you see if you can see that. The folded over edge makes it look more like a pocket. And that is, I mean, it's sturdier because I've got a little bit of layer. And remember, this is old, thin, super thin book page. I just like the fact that it looks a bit raised or elevated. It gives me more flexibility with my pocket. And that's the reason I do it that way. Can you just glue a pocket straight down? Absolutely. But I wanted to do it this way. So putting these pieces together. So I've got my taller piece in the back, right? Oh no, this is the one we just did. Taller piece in the back, right? And before I glue anything down, I want to make sure that what I've got is going to fit. Oh, and that's the one on this one. Apodosis was another word that was up here, and I thought that is just so cool because, again, English. Apodosis is just a really cool, apogee. That's a really cool word. A lot of really cool words on here, and I wanted those to kind of show. So lay them down here, put it over here. So I've got, this is my kind of, whoops, here, I'll move back up. Sorry. This is kind of my loose configuration, but I want to make sure all my pieces are going to fit before I glue them down, because once they're glued down, they're down. And I would have to trim anything off that didn't work. I did the same thing on this tag. I didn't have one piece large enough, so I took two sections and just sewed them together. And so this might need to go down a little bit. And then here's my notebook, but this one I did a little bit differently. I didn't want that pretty pink tape at the top, so I'm going to tuck it down like this in my book. But I had my notepad up at the top, see? So it's going to be a fold-down notepad, just for something different. All right, that will work, and I will glue this. Now I know I've said I'm trying not to glue, but I want to show you, did it on purpose to show you the process and, well, and what I think about when I'm putting these pieces down and when I'm putting them together, just to maybe help you not make some of the mistakes that I make. I am grabbing, as you can see, I use my stamp blocks for glue more than I use them for stamps. But they are super handy. All right, so I'm going to put the Junior Latin Reader down, and I'm going to use the stamp block to put it on. And then this was the next size pocket, and I'll glue this down. Even though I've got the tape on there, there's still enough paper that it will glue down just fine. Okay. And put him over here. Oh, shoot. See? Aren't you glad I said that? All right, what I didn't do and what I should have done is, these flowers may turn brown and not work either, but I just loved the way they worked with this. I need to put this on here before I glue it down. Oh gosh, so glad you told me that. Thanks, guys. All right, I am going to, let's see, and this was going to lay over like this. Yeah, that's a good spot. I am going to poke a hole. I could punch a hole or what have you, but this is such thin book page that it really doesn't matter. So I've just, again, with that same report cover page, I sewed all the way around it. I put this flower that was out in the front yard. Don't have any clue what it is. I wish I knew more about flowers, but I don't. I know what a daffodil is and a tulip because those are my favorites, and black-eyed Susans, and the ones I love I know, but the others I don't know so much. Though it's something I would like to learn at some point. Kind of like birds. I don't know the names of all the birds, and I really think birds are cool. So I would like to learn more about birds. Maybe that'll be a retirement thing. All right, now I glue this piece down. Okay, and again, I will put the stamp block on it, which kind of defeats the purpose, really, if you think about it, because the big old brad's right there, and it kind of blocks the stamp pad. So or the stamp block, excuse me. All right, and then there's that. I've got my hinged piece. I just thought that was really pretty. It picked up the blue and the blue, even though it's a different shade, and it's close enough for me. And then this pocket is going to go right here, I think. I think that's where I wanted it to go. This one goes here, and I want to make sure it goes in, and yeah, that works. Maybe I need this to come up a little bit. Yeah, it does. It needs to come up a little bit. So I'm glad I checked. Okay. Glue, glue. And I wanted it up and over. Oh, man. Oh, that's right. That's right. Apodosis is the word that I really wanted to be able to see. I just think it's a cool word. It sounds cool. Sometimes I like the way a word sounds, but I don't like the meaning of it, but I really like that, the way that one sounds. The meaning's good. All right, and then these probably, I shouldn't probably put these in yet because they're not 100% dry, and I'll pull them out and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, close enough. We're putting the pages together. And what the heck did I have these for? Oh, what did I do? Oh, I know what I was going to show you. How to make your circle. See, I was losing my mind. Little circles, right? Scraps of die cuts. I inked the edges on a tag. How do you make it centered so that you have both the front and the back the same? I will show you that. Like I said, watching that Tim Holtz video just kind of blew my mind. It had my brain going in 65,000 different directions, and it's a very scary thing. Such clever, creative people. So cool. All right, so I just really think that's pretty. It's kind of feminine and pretty, and I don't normally do feminine and pretty. So that is this page, and I will show you really quickly how to do this. And here's just my method. Okay, so here's what's left of my handy clock. Okay, so I've got a tag that I have punched, and I've got 2 circles the same size punched, right? What I do is I take a pokey tool, and this happens to be a Tim Holtz pokey tool, but any pokey tool will work, and I get it as close to the center as I can. So I'll pull it back like about so, and I'll hold it at a 90-degree angle. I need to go up just a tiny bit. Okay, and I poke it through, right? So I didn't have to punch a circle and then punch these. And it's not 100% perfect, but you know what? Close enough for me. So I've got holes through both the front and the back pieces. Then I will line up, I'll center my tag so that I can get it mostly in the center. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be close. And I'll put a little dot here. All right. And I'll do the same thing and hold it at a 90-degree angle and poke it through. Now, when I'm lining these up, when I want them to match, I will do this. So I'll put the circle on my pokey tool, and I'll put some glue around the edge, right? And then I put it on my tag, right? And do the same thing here. Put a little bit of glue around the edge. And same idea, I'll put it right on top of that. All right, and that, I mean, it's not 100% perfect, but you can see that's I didn't poke the hole exactly in the center. Sometimes I'll actually even measure the center, but you know, for the sake of speed in this, that is how I do this. Okay, now what I can do if I need to make this hole larger, right? Got it front, back, I've got my hole. I've got it visualized, and I will grab a punch, like in this case, this punch, and I will come punch this, and my front and back circles are mostly centered, right? Well, they're not 100% perfect, but it's pretty close. It's close enough for me. So that's how I put double-sided circles on if I want to. If I didn't, purchase the tag with the circles already on it if I wanted to use my scraps and put them on that way. So there you go. That's my method. And that was why that was in there. Somebody had asked how I did it, and I was thinking to put it in the follow-up video, but then I put it in with these things. So there you go. Again, it's late and my brain is pretty fried because there's so many cool ideas. And oh my gosh, I'm sitting here thinking I need to probably get a second job to pay for some of those things that I want to purchase. All right, next page, super duper duper simple. This is a sheet of time card that I cut into a library pocket, and oh, I forgot to tuck it in. Well, I'll be danged. This is, let me just grab a little bit of a scrap piece of paper. I've got lots of scraps here. Okay, this is the paper clip. I think if you look up paper clip pocket on my YouTube channel, you'll be able to find this. And let's see if I fold it in half. Is that going to be enough? Yeah, it'll look like it'll fit, or close enough. I usually put a journaling card in there, and yeah, it fits. And so this is just a paper clip pocket with a space for journaling, and it paper clips right on top. Maybe it paper clips right on top. There we go. And that is all there is to that. There was enough pattern and busyness here, and I just really liked the way it looked. So here we go. Let's do this one. Okay. No, I haven't done the garage yet, even though I was supposed to do it today, which means I haven't got the WD-40 out, which means my chair still squeaks. So there you go. All right. And all I do to make these pockets is because if I fold it up, then I don't have the print that I want on it, right? So if I just folded it over, well, then I've got a blank piece back here. So let's say I wanted this to be 3 inches. We're going to go with 3. Okay. And then I will cut it, right? And now I can lay one right on top of the other, and I can make it as long as I want. And I've got the same print on the front for both sides. And now I have a pocket to tuck my paper clip or my item or what have you down in. See? So there's my pocket. I just glue along both edges. And again, at the back, if I want this to be closed, I'll just put a piece of tape on the back. So that is all there is to making these pockets. Now you can use regular library pockets, but if you want or need to change the size at all, you have that option when you use the time cards. I could make this into a side tuck. You know, I could put a tuck something here and here. I could make it into a top tuck, but let's be honest, this book is chunky enough. I am just going to glue this down. And I didn't put it all the way to the bottom of the page. I just did something along those lines. And I will clip it closed. And I know in the last couple of videos, I'd stopped doing the glue piece, but again, that Tim Holtz video just blew. It was the Tim Holtz live, I think, from this weekend. And again, it's all Tracy's fault that I actually listened to it. And then it just, wow. Kind of made my brain go in a million directions. Nope, doesn't fit. Well, we'll just trust that that'll glue itself down. I think the pressure from all these other clips will keep it down. And again, oh, I forgot to put a journaling card in this one. Well, before I list this in my Etsy shop, I will. And that's another question I've been asked a couple times. How much are these going to sell for? You know what? Honestly, I haven't decided. I go back and forth and back and forth. I've bought in some journals recently and look at those and know what I paid and what other people charge and what people have done in the past. And then I can't lose sight of the fact that this is a fundraiser. I mean, I do this to buy books for my students. So I still don't know. Something. All right. Done. And pull down the next one. All right. This was that 6x6 paper that I cut into 6x5. And the 5-inch side goes from here to here. Then you fold in the corners to the middle. And it gives you a tuck spot in the back. on the top. I mean, you could go all the way through, obviously. Tuck spot in the back on the top, tuck spot in the back on the bottom. Okay, I need to put this paper trimmer away, it's in my way. Room for 2 tags, and I left them plain because the paper was plenty busy. And then I just put a cluster on the front. And this is a Tim Holtz die and a Carrie Fellows chipboard piece, and I combined them together, and I used another die cut and made it into a little cluster, and I just thought it was pretty, so I did it. And this is another one of those cards that I the package that Tim Holtz has of journaling cards, and I punched the edge with one of my punches and backed it with coffee dyed copy paper, and that can slide through maybe just like so. And I will show you how I put that together. Only one more page, guys. And then I'm still not 100% sure for the index page in the back. They'll be different for each book because I use different things for different pages on each book. But what do I want that to look like? Do I want it to be over the top? Do I want it to be plain? Do I want it to be clear? I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to tone it down so that I'm not too crazy, but you know, this is me. All right, so here is the piece. Again, 6 by 5. This 1-inch strip that I cut off of that 6 by 6 paper was laid over the top. So I took the 2 corners, folded them into the middle, inked the edges, of course, and then I took that 1-inch strip and I created a belly band. All right, so I will glue this down. This should be done by now. And when I glue this, I glue, and the other book, the original book, it was flipped. These corners were folded up and these corners were down. So it doesn't really and truly matter which corners you meet. You just want opposite corners, you meet them in the middle. So whichever corners you didn't fold, you will glue. And you just glue a little bit along the edge, the unfolded edge, right? I could have gone closer to the edge there, but it'll still work. And same thing on the bottom. You glue down your unfolded edge. Okay. Hands clearly aren't working very well. There we go. And it's 6 inches, so it goes top to bottom. And I will clamp. Clamp this. So if you guys haven't watched that Tim Holtz live, make sure, one, that you have lots of time. There's 3 of them, and oh my goodness, I know I'm going to go watch the other 2, because the makes, it's the products are cool, and you see them in the stores, or I don't go to the stores anymore. You see them on Amazon or what have you, and they're cool and all. But then when you see what the creators, Tim Holtz creative people, made, oh man, so very, very cool. All right. So here's the journaling spot for this. Here's the journaling spot for that. And because they're clamped and it's still wet, I'm not really going to put those in. And then here are my journaling cards, or my journaling tags, little tags. Put those there and there. Well, I'll be danged. I had it. Well, shoot, I put it somewhere. It was something along these lines. I mean, it wasn't this one, but the piece that goes in the middle. Well, maybe that would do like that. It's a little smaller, but I don't know, maybe that'll work. We'll see. But the cluster, I was going to show you how I did the cluster in the middle. So I took a piece of fabric, and then I laid the doily die cut on it, and then I just took a scrap of lace, laid it on, and a tiny little itty bitty bit of ribbon, and laid it on, and I sewed it down the center. And that's all I did to that. Now here is the key. I want to be able to tuck my journaling card right in here. So I've got to be careful to keep the glue just on this center belly band. So the way I do it is let the Fabri-Tac hit the bottom of the bottle. I clearly need to get more Fabri-Tac. And think about the dimension here. And I just put the glue on the belly band rather than on the cluster so that I don't accidentally put too much glue. And then I will center this, or roughly center this. And then here, oh man, what did I do with, oh, here it is. Excuse me. This is a label, somebody's label, I don't know who. And here's just a piece of string. And again, I used my go-to method of putting a little bit of glue. Let's see, can you see that? A little bit of glue on the end and then rolling it in my fingers. Yes, my fingers are inky. Rolling it in there, and that makes the needle. So that this itty bitty eyelet is easy to thread. Right. So I've got my itty bitty eyelet, and I am going to tie this around my, this was again Carrie Fellows witchcraftdoyoudo.com. She has some white chipboard, and this is altered white chipboard. And I know I cut the string a little long, but well, you know what? I don't want to waste it. So let's go like this. This part with the needle, I'll just use the string for something else, and I'll be able to use the needle. So when I'm bringing it down to tie my bow, I want the shorter end, the end that I'm going to cut off, or the shorter end, the end that I'm not going to cut off, to be the non-glued tip. So, I mean, why waste it? Okay. So I tied a bow, now I have to pull it tight and make it a little bit smaller. And I was listening to Tim Holtz, and he says he has pork chop fingers, and oh man, do I relate. My big old pork chop fingers cause problems all the time. All right, and then I will just trim this off. And yes, I do have 2 pair of Tim Holtz scissors, and here's my reasoning. I clean them fairly frequently with adhesive remover wipes, but I like to keep this pair no adhesive and adhesive, just because it makes it stay sharper longer. And so I have different lengths of the tips, right? And the shorter ones I use with glue, and the longer ones I use for things that don't have any glue at all. And even though I clean off the glue, it's just, these are sharper. So if I want to trim off a piece of string like that, I know it'll trim. Okay, and I'll put this back. And maybe I'll choose that one, or maybe not. And then I will glue this, and I eyeball it first to see where are my outlines, because I don't want to glue it down to here, because then again I won't be able to get that journaling card in. So just below the tag and just below this bulb, I guess, for want of a better word. So I'll put the glue on these pieces, and that way it will hit exactly where I want it to hit and adhere to my background without blocking the tag that's going to go in and out. Okay, we need to finish up soon because those dogs are barking like crazy. They're going to drive the neighbors nuts. All right, and done and done. And then again, I'll figure out which card I was going to use and just put that in there, and that's the back journaling card. I will remove these paper clips. Oh my gosh, I'm talking way too much. 47 minutes. Yikes! I thought this was going to be quick. Okay, last page. I'll go through this one as quick as I can. Okay, here, and these I did differently. These were not the same as in the other book, simply because there was nothing in the other book that we hadn't done on another page. So I let the pages tell me what to do. And in this one, this is a scrap pocket like we had on the other one, or a stamp pocket like we had on the other one. But here I took a vellum butterfly, and when I peeled off the backing, I cut it so that this part of the butterfly didn't glue down. And I just put a little ticket on it and a piece of that decorative tape, or the alcohol-based tape, and I put a little file folder in it. So it's a paper clip, and it's on top of a belly band, right? But remember how I said the other day with these little file folders, I wanted to make an accordion journaling? Well, I did. And I love the way it came out, and it was really cool. And it made me smile, so I'll show you how I did that. It's pretty simple, but so it's a file with a little journaling spot in it, a fold-down journaling spot. All right, and then this one's a little bit different, and it's a matchbook, right? And I used the belly band again to hold the matchbook in place, so you've got all this journaling spot here, right? But there's a tag in the back. Well, Corey, why is your tag naked? Oh, let me show you why my tag is naked. So what I did was I made this matchbook, And then the back of the matchbook is a pocket. And you take out the tag, and again, you can leave it or put it back in or what have you. And then I just, to get it in, just like that, okay? And then in this tag, so there's the front of the tag. It's kind of plain, it's kind of boring. But on the back, I put all kinds of little bits and a mini cluster pack. And so I put the envelope, and I just used a Tim Holtz clip to make the envelope. And in here, I put some bits that you could use to make the front of your tag if you chose to. Now, I didn't ink this, but I certainly could. And you don't have to use all the, whoever purchases doesn't have to use all the pieces if they don't want to, or they can choose from the pieces, or they can just leave it as is as an idea. I thought I had a piece. Well, maybe I did. Shoot. I put a little circle in there. Well, I thought I did anyway. I guess I dropped it. Oh well, I had a tracing paper circle on there because I thought that looked kind of cool together. And then here's just a little bit of ribbon and a little smidge of lace and arnett. And then there's a little bit of lace, and I thought maybe you could do something like that, layer it up. And then this reminds me of the, it's a Tim Holtz die, and it reminds me of the truffle tree. You know, the little wishy thingy he had, it reminds me of that. And I'm drawing a blank on his name because it's late, but you all know what I'm talking about. And there we go. Just, you know, sew it down, glue it down, something along those lines. I forgot to put this in there. A label to act as an anchor and tie it down. And then I put some different sized circle tags on for the front. I think I like that one, but you can, you know, choose as you choose. And then this little bit of string to put through the string. You could put the paper clip, you could whatever. And you certainly don't have to lay it that way, but I just thought it was kind of different and kind of fun to be able to decorate your own tag. And how fun would that be to give somebody as a gift? A little decorate your own tag kit. So you give them a tag, and then they build a kit with, or you give them a kit to build the tag that they envision with the pieces you give them. So I just kind of thought that was a little bit different, a little bit fun. And put that in there, and again, close the whole thing up, and the paper clip can be used to hold it closed, or again, it can be used to decorate the tag. And that goes right back in the pocket on the back of that. So there is that, and that is how I did this page. Now the other one is just slightly different, simply because it needed something slightly different. I forgot to put these back in. I'll do that now. So there's that. And this one, I put this on. This is a piece that we made in one of the Tim Holtz squirrel videos, how to use the 3x3 squares. And on this one, it's just a square that has 3 sections, and we folded one section over and took a divot, and then we put a little pocket on the bottom, and then we took that scrap, and we folded it over both sides and glued here and here, so that you've got a tuck in the front and you've got a tuck in the back. Again, just kind of another way to do it. And here are the bits and pieces for that. Okay, so here is the tag that goes in back, and this is kind of a Hermelinda tag. So rather than putting a hole through this, I just tied a knot in my sari silk ribbon, and so that you could lift it up, right? And then I took the bottom because it was a bit long, and I folded it up to make a little pocket for a notepad. So you could certainly journal here, and then I just put this little itty bitty notepad on, and you could certainly journal here. I used a flower vellum sticker, and I cut off one section of it, which came out over here on the side, to put down here on the bottom for decoration. And then that's a pocket in the back, and you just put your little card in the back. All right, this is just a little notebook. It says hello, a little itty bitty notebook, and it goes in this pocket here, and you could put it backwards or forwards, either way is, you know. There we go. And it tucks down there so you don't even see it when it's closed. And then here, oh, I was going to show you how I folded this for the file, and that's what that's for. On this little file folder, this one goes on the front because I wanted it thinner. I took some of that Tim Holtz paper and cut it down to make itty bitty tags. It was in the 8x8 pad, I think, and just kind of took the tickets, individual tickets, and cut them and made them into tiny tickets. And it was way too much fun. But yeah, so put that in the file folder, in this file folder, and I just took a piece of offcut of coffee dyed tracing paper, glued down the center where the file folder folds, and then on each edge, and it tucks into the front tuck spot. And then you open it up, and this is also a tag kit. So you can decorate the pages in your fold down or decorate inside. I put it in and it's heavy. See how I left this page blank? Well, here's your little kit to decorate that if you choose to, with a little cluster. And again, it's got, the bits of lace and a die and ribbon and so on. Same exact idea. But you know what I forgot to put on here? I forgot to close it with Tim Holtz. There it is. I was gonna, no, that's not the one. Well, heck, I will put that on. Before this goes to whoever gets it for its new home, I will put that on there. And again, it's the same idea, just done a little bit differently based on the needs of that book. And here is going to be the fold down. And I just made it a little bit shorter for the sake of time, but I'll show you how I do it. It's pretty straightforward, but this is an easy way to do it. So I'll grab my glue stick and I'll just put a little bit of glue on the back because it's just thin coffee dyed copy paper, right? And it's cut to just go a little tiny bit inside the edge of the file folder. I think the file folder is 2, so this is just shy of 2, right? And I gotta make sure I put it on straight because otherwise it's not gonna fold straight. Okay. Am I even remotely in frame? I didn't even look, so sorry about that. Okay. This is what happens when you work late at night. Trying this again. And the glue stick gives me a little bit of wiggle room. It's still wet. Okay, there we go. That's better. All right. So I put the paper down, right? And there's ink on it, of course. I use the cards, Starbucks cards or credit card or whatever you use, and I put it on the edge. And the reason I do that is because I can see exactly where it's going to fold. I can make sure that I'm folding past the crease line where my file folder is, but I'm getting it up exactly where I want it. So I can see exactly where the fold is going to be because I have to make sure I fold above that fold line. And then I move the card and I press it down. And I do the same thing on the other side, okay? I can see exactly where I want it to touch the top piece of the fold, right? And I just push down and move it down. And I do that until I'm done with the paper. I just do the same thing back and forth. And that way I'm not guessing about where the fold is and I don't have to crease everything to use a scoreboard. You could, of course, use a scoreboard. But this is just kind of a quick, easy way to make sure your pages are straight and lined up and where you want them to be. Oh, and that one's just a smidge long, so I will, I'm going to use the big scissors. I don't know why, but I cut straighter when I use the big scissors. And I just need to take a little bit off that. And of course, that means it'll be inked again, but you don't need to see me do that. All right. I did it. Yeah, see, I didn't even do it straight. Well, darn now, but let's fix that. Okay, much better. And there you go, right? I'll link it later. And I tuck this one into this tuck. So I still have a fold down. Whoop. Can you see it? No, you can't. Let's put this into frame. You've got the file folder there, and you've got your folded piece here, and I had a paper clip, so I'll make sure I find it and put it on. And there's that. This piece, oh, there's a magnet in there, can you tell? I had originally thought I'd put a magnet here and a magnet here, and because I needed to include a snippet roll. Because remember, I don't know, earlier in the book when we used the snippet roll piece for another page in the other book, we didn't use it in this one because it didn't work. So I had to make sure I included the snippet roll. Well, this time, rather than using the snippet roll as a belly band, I used it as a notebook. So just a flip up little notebook. And again, my original idea was to have it go in and out of the book on the magnets. So I would have had magnets here and here, and magnets here and here, and it would just go in and out, right? Well, I realized that the magnets, even though they're nice and thin, they are very hard to write over. So I cut my note paper down to just below, to above where the magnet is, and I decided not to put a magnet back here because then you'd have the magnet thing when you were writing. So what I will do is I will glue this section down here, and that is all the pages of the book. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow real quick for the index cards, the pocket, and answering the questions that I have written down. But I think an hour is more than enough for tonight. All right, completed books. We did it. And if you're following along, please don't hesitate to ask any questions. I'm happy to answer them. And now that I'm done with this, Stamperia Forest will come next, but it might be a couple days because I got to clean the garage. All right, take care, folks, and happy creating.